Hi everybody, welcome to this week's Help Me Communicate, where I help you become a better communicator. I'm Mike Garska with SuccessToolChest.com and FindAMentor.com. And this week in Help Me Communicate, we're going to talk about how to deal with bullying in the workplace. If you're being bullied, I'm going to give you 8 steps for how to deal with that situation, that difficult situation in the workplace. 1 in 7 people are reportedly bullied at work. That's a huge number. It's a big issue. So how do we deal with this objectively and effectively? I'm going to give you those 8 steps today. And when you do deal with it, you will feel that sense of freedom. So no matter how difficult it is, it's important to push through these difficult situations to get to that peace of mind that we all deserve. Now, the 8 steps, I'm going to give you a quick overview, and then I'm going to go into the details of each step, and then we'll finish off the video. The first step is to invoke some patience into yourself to deal with this difficult situation. Don't get emotional. Get control of your emotions and educate yourself. The first step, be patient and educate yourself. Control your emotions. The second step is to document everything. The third step is to build a support network. The fourth step is to do your best work. The fifth step is to stay healthy outside of work. The sixth and seventh step is to prepare your conversations and decide who that conversation is going to be with. Is it going to be directly with the bully, and I'm going to talk to you about that, or is it going to be with the superior or somebody else outside of support? And the 8th step is always in a bullying situation is to prepare yourself to leave if you have to. So let's start with number 1. Educate yourself. Research exactly what bullying is. And the way I understand bullying is that it is a consistent, persistent, and repeated malicious behavior. If it's a one-up bullying situation, it's still bullying. But sometimes people have bad days and they come in and they react and respond inappropriately. Allow people that mistake. If it doesn't mean that you don't deal with it, and I'll tell you how to do that as we go through this process if it's just a one-up. Having said that, it's dealt with in a similar fashion to repeated bullying, but repeated bullying is much more serious than the one-offs where somebody's just had a really bad day and they went off on you or a co-worker. But educate yourself. What is bullying? It's consistent malicious behavior. Do some research, know exactly what it is, and have it all recorded. Exactly what bullying is and what the effects of bullying are. Know that before. It's the number 1 step is to educate and prepare yourself on bullying. The second step is to document everything. Document the bullying situation in detail. If it is repeated malicious behavior, document a minimum of 2, but preferably 3 situations where it's happened. So if this bullying is a consistent behavior, then document 3 examples of that situation, and exact examples, exactly what he or she said, exactly what the situation and circumstance was around what he or she said. Date the documentation so that it's very clear that you are doing your homework. Document the details of the situation. The third step is to build a support network. Now, what does that look like? First of all, get some witnesses. If you find out if there's anybody in your work group that's willing to be a witness, that's willing to say, yes, I recognize this and I see it as bullying as well, based on the information of what bullying is, based on the research that you personally did. Share it with some colleagues. This is what bullying is. Here's the situation. Are you willing to support me in this? Find some support at work if you can. Now, often people are afraid to support you on that. You have to honor that. People need their jobs, and some people are willing to put up with more stuff than other people. Perfect example, a woman came to me a few months ago actually, and she was in a situation. She worked with this company for 2 years. The boss was a yeller. And this boss would come out to the office and yell at people all the time. And not just one person, but the whole team on a consistent basis. And this woman found it extremely frustrated. She'd be on the phone to customers or clients, and the customer or clients would say, "Who's yelling in the background?" She was embarrassed. She felt very stressful, but she needed her job. So she put up with it for 2 years. It got so bad that she went to see her family doctor. and the family doctor said, this is not good for you. I'm willing to give you a mental health note so that you can go on unemployment insurance and bridge your income until you find another job. But the doctor highly recommended that she get herself out of that toxic work environment. So part of your support system is to go see your family doctor, get a referral to a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist, and share your situation. Confirm that it's bullying, confirm that with all the research that you've done. Have your P's and Q's in order. Know what that is. Get that support. The other part of support is to call the labor board in your area and find out what the policy is on work environments and bullying in the workplace, and at least have that information again in your preparation of confronting this issue. So you know exactly what bullying is. You've got that all written out. You know what the labor board in your particular state or province is, and what their policies are. So you've got that recorded. Everything's documented. You've got the specific situations documented. That's your 3 steps. You've got your support network. You've got some friends, some witnesses, or not. But you've got the support of your doctor or psychiatrist or psychologist. And you've got the support of the labor board as well. The 4th step is to do your best work. Don't give the bully an excuse to come at you in an inappropriate manner. Do your best work. Make sure you're showing up to work on time. Make sure you're getting your assignments done on time. Make sure you're not wasting time at work and distracting other people with too much socialization. Or make sure you're staying off your phone and that kind of things. Make sure you're doing your best work. That's the 4th step. The 5th step is to take care of yourself. Stay healthy. Make sure outside of work that you're getting enough sleep. Make sure that you're getting some exercise. Make sure that you're eating well. Make sure that you've got a good network of friends and social activities going on so that you have that balance outside of work. So stay healthy. Now, the 6th and 7th steps are about dealing with the situation. First and foremost, do not deal with the situation using text or emails. Highly emotional and sensitive situations, we want to stay away from text and email in dealing with it. So that's the number 1 rule, is to stay away with it, deal with it in face-to-face conversations. Now, the first step in dealing with it directly, it's a simple step, and this can be a quick conversation. And anytime we're having sensitive conversations, I refer to becoming aware of our HIP, our human interaction process, because this is how people communicate. When we communicate, and I'll go over this, and pretty well every week I give you this quick tip, but human interaction, we sense something, we hear or see something when we're communicating. Then from that, we get a thought pattern, we get an emotion, and then we get an intention, and then we choose to act. So when we're being bullied, we're hearing somebody yelling at us, for example, or putting us down. And when we hear that, our thought goes to, well, this is unfair. This isn't the proper way to deal with people. And then we go to, we get feelings. We feel unappreciated. We feel frustrated. We feel put down. We feel angry. All those feelings come into play. So we get aware of that process. What do we want? We want to work in a calm, peaceful work environment where everybody is somewhat happy and getting along and getting their jobs done. So that's the intention. And remember, when it comes to work, everybody's intention is basically to live in a productive, peaceful work environment so that the company's doing well and we're doing well and we're getting rewarded for our services to the company and the company's getting rewarded for its services to the clients. And everybody's intention in the workplace is basically similar to that. We want a good work environment. We want to be productive. We want to hit our goals and all of that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. So we have that, but the bottom line intention is we want to work in a good work environment. Now our action, so we got bullied in our opinions, and our thought pattern was about being bullied. We were feeling frustrated and angry and put down and all that stuff. And we want to work in a good work environment. And our action becomes either to deal with it. Sometimes our action becomes to just internalize it and ignore it and work in the difficult work environment. But we choose to act, whether that's actually doing something or doing nothing. Both are action methods in this human interaction process. Now, the other person has a human interaction process going on as well. Now, maybe they had a bad morning, and maybe they got yelled at by their boss. Maybe they thought they saw something and they thought that you weren't doing your job right. And so their intention was to make things better, and their choice of action was not necessarily appropriate because they used a bullying choice of action. But nevertheless, it's valid because it's theirs. So if you're going to deal with this quickly and directly, it's just about asking some questions. And that's when we're dealing with sensitive situations and people that aren't necessarily open. The best way to open the conversation is to ask. So your first step is to maybe deal with it directly with the bully. Hey, yesterday when you came to me, and always give it a day. Don't deal with it the same day, because emotions are high. And when emotions are high, things get said and done that we wouldn't do when we're got control of our feelings. And so give it a day. Go to the person and say, hey, when you did this yesterday to me, I felt really frustrated and angry, and I was demotivated. And what do I need to do so that you don't do that again? So that might be your first plan of action. Steps 6 and 7 is to plan that conversation and then have that conversation. Now, if that doesn't work, then go to the next level. And so actually we're going into, if that's the 6th and 7th step, then the 8th and 9th step, if that doesn't work, is to, again, plan your conversation according to the human interaction process. And whenever I'm planning a difficult, crucial conversation, I analyze the human interaction process. And I keep in mind that when I'm going to do that conversation, I'm going to use the contact system. And that's a 7-step process. We get conscious now, get aware of our hip. We imagine what the other person's hip in that consciousness now. C in contact stands for consciousness of what's going on for me and what's going on for the other person. O in contact stands for outing yourself effectively. So we share our human interaction process. Then the next step of a difficult contact conversation is to notice the other person and ask what's going on for them. Find out their hip. So we've shared we know what our hip is. We share it in outing ourselves. And then we notice the other person by asking about them. And then we out ourselves, and then we notice the other person, ask about them, and then we tune in. T stands for tuning in. We listen after we've asked and make sure we get clear on what's going on for the other person. The A means amplify and clarify in contact. So after we've asked them and we've listened, then we clarify to make sure we're interpreting correctly what their human interaction process is. So now they know my human interaction process. I know their human interaction process. We know each other's what's going on. So after we've clarified and reflective listening, and we've listened actively to them, and we understand the whole situation, then we look for common ground. And it's best to look for common ground in the intentions, especially in a work environment. At work, people want the company to do well. They want to make sure that they feel like they're contributing to the service of the company, and so on and so forth. Focus on those common grounds, and then take it to the next level. The last T in contact stands for take it to the next level, which is to record what you've agreed to in discovering common ground. You've come to common intentions. You come up with a plan on how you're going to move forward, and you record that. That's taking it to the next level. So you plan your conversation according to that contact process, and you write down what you witnessed. In this case, you've got the 2 or 3 instances of the exact bullying. You've got the definitions of bullying, so you're prepared. You've got the what your thought processes around this. You know how you felt in those situations of being bullied, and your intention is to work in a decent work environment so the company does well and everybody at work does well. So you write all that out. And that's your planning of your conversation. Now, you've had that preliminary conversation with the direct bully. That didn't work. So now you go to a superior. Now, if it is your superior, you have to go to his superior or her superior and take it to that next level. And if it's a bigger company, you can go to maybe get some support from the human resource department. If you're going above your boss to the next boss, it's a really good idea to develop a relationship with that boss above before you have that conversation. So that's where the patience comes in. Take the time to get to know your boss's boss. If that's not doable, then you've got to go to the 8th step. If you really feel that it's impossible to to deal with this directly because there's no way it's going to get better because other people have tried it, whatever reason, then you got to be prepared to move on and find another job and do what you need to do. And if you're going to move on and find that other job, then you report the person to the company to the labor board and get them to deal with that. So maybe it'll make it better for your past coworkers after you've left. Having said that, when you do your conversation, you've planned out your conversation, you know your human interaction process, you have an idea what the other person's human interaction process, and you actually do the conversation. Now, whether this is with superiors or with the HR department, you follow the same process. You share what you witnessed, what you saw and heard. You share the specifics of the bullying. You share the specifics of what you learned about what bullying is. You share that you've got witnesses, or you've gone to your doctor and they agree with you and they're willing to give you a note for mental health. You share all that information, and you share, that's all your thought process. You share how you're feeling when you're doing the direct conversation. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling stressed. And you share your intention. I want to work here. I like my job. I want us to do well, but I want a harmonious work environment. And I know that this is difficult to deal with, but I believe that we can get through it if we deal with it directly. If you're a business owner, make sure you have a bullying policy in place, and make sure you're open to having those difficult conversations with your people. If you're a manager or an owner of a company, have that conversation. Bigger companies have human resource departments that are trained to help you in this. Smaller companies, you don't have that. If the boss is not willing to look at his or her bullying, if they're the bully, then be prepared to move on. But in just a quick rework of this thing, remember that invoke patience. Don't get emotional. Do your research. Know what bullying is. Document the specifics of the situation. That's step 2. 3 is build a support network. Get some witnesses if you can. If you can't, talk to your doctor. Get a psychiatrist, psychologist, or a therapist to help you plan this stuff. Call the labor board. Do your best work. Don't let your lack of effectiveness at work be an excuse for the bully to come down on you. Stay healthy outside of work. Eat well. Sleep well. Have a good social network. Exercise. And don't deal with things on text or email. Plan your conversations. Do your first conversation directly with the bully and keep it simple. Just ask them what you need to do to prevent that type of behavior, because people know people relate to your feelings. Well, you yelled at me. I felt scared. I felt angry. They can relate to that. What do I have to do so that you don't do that again? If it's a reasonable request, then that might stop the bullying right there, at least for you. It doesn't mean it's going to stop that person from bullying other people, but if you deal with it directly, it might stop it for you. If that doesn't have an effect, you've got to go to a superior, or go bring in the HR department, or that kind of stuff. And again, before you have those conversations with the superior or the HR department, plan it out. Write out your hip. Write out what you think the other person's hip might be when you're doing the conversation. Have all your documentation of the specific instances with the dates. Have your witnesses if they're available. Have your doctor's notes if you have them. Have your details of what bullying is, so that you can prove that this is actually a real situation. Then share all that information with all your share all your documents. Have all your papers with you when you go to have that meeting. And then get into the inquiry mode. Use that contact system. Notice the other person. Ask about them. Actively listen after you've asked. Reflectively listen and amplify and clarify to make sure you're interpreting correctly what they are saying to you. And then look for the common ground. Find resolution. Find a resolution path. Agree to that path, and then document it in an email or a text or something, that this is what we've talked about, this is what we've agreed to, and here's what we're doing, and so that everybody's got it documented. And if none of that works, be prepared to move on. Maybe you've witnessed in your company that somebody else has tried to deal with this bullying situation and it didn't work. So you might want to decide to get your outside supports and start looking for another job, and be prepared to leave that job when you bring up this bullying situation. But make it count. Don't let the bully get away with it. Even if you're leaving, before you leave, you plan a decent, safe conversation and have that conversation with the bully so that they're aware of exactly what they're doing and how they're affecting other people. That's the best thing you can do for your company and for yourself. take care of yourself. That's the number one thing. Whenever you're being bullied, be prepared to move on if you need to. I hope you got something out of this today. Post your questions or any of your comments below. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and our YouTube page. All these videos are posted at YouTube. They're all posted at the Success Tool Chest blog. If you want documentation on what that human interaction process, there's a free download at successtoolchest.com, the HIP Effective Awareness Communication Tool. You can get that for free in a PDF or watch a free video. You can sign up for the Contact Communications and Masterminding program, which gives you specific tips on how to deal with those crucial conversations and how to use teams to achieve goals quicker in the masterminding part of the program. But the Contact System is a 7-step program, and it's 3 hours of videos on what you can do to prepare conversations and how to navigate those difficult conversations. It's only $89 for a limited time. Sign up for the Contact program, download your free HIP communications tools, like our pages. Thank you for watching Help Me Communicate and the 8 tips on dealing with bullying in your workplace. I hope you got something out of this. You go out and make it an awesome day, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.